Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen in the EMEA region, as well as perhaps a good morning for those in Americas that like to get up a little early. I want to thank you for your patience as well as your time today in being able to share a moment of your precious time to get a brief update on some of our new technology releases. We'll be starting a new fiscal year this year, and we have a lot of new technology lined up. One of the first things we're going to release is the enhanced version of our hospitality. As I'm speaking now, right on schedule, I guess people are starting to trigger in and signing up at this point. So I'll just wait another 30 seconds or so, and I'll just get the show started. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you signing up for this brief presentation on giving you a quick technology update on some of our new releases. This presentation will be just around 22, 23 minutes in general, and it provides sort of a brief glimpse to some of the new technologies we'll be rolling out to the globe within the next couple of months. What I want to do is, before I get that going, let's get some housekeeping things done. For those who have any particular questions as the presentation rolls along, please go ahead and click on your client tab and put in your questions into the question tab, and I'll be more than happy to address your specific questions at the end of the presentation, which should be a brief moment. And in addition to that, I also have uploaded a PDF file of this presentation as well for you to download. So if you go into the handouts section in your GoToWebinar client, you will also find a uploaded soft copy of this presentation, which you can download for your own personal reference. So no need to take any notes. You can download that and hopefully enjoy it. And if you have any questions, feel free to move forward. With that said, let's just move forward. And for those who may have been interested, those who are new to Fanvil, I just kind of want to spend a few moments to just give you a brief overview of our entire solution. And everything, all of the endpoints that you see here are all basically SIP-based. And really, Fanvil is a large SIP-based endpoint provider where we provide the technology that enables the end user, the client, your partners to be able to interface to a lot of the advanced technologies that are rolling out today. You can really divide it into three separate categories. The first category is really, in essence, our most popular, which is our business phones. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time, since the focus of this presentation is really to hover around our new enhancement release of our hospitality units. Now, besides the business phones that we have, we also issue the I-Series as well. And the I-Series, we call that our intercom, or should I say door access units. And when you look at this in general, we provide both ruggedized as well as commercial grade type of endpoints that meet commercial and as well as ruggedized type of things that provide support under high humidity, high ruggedized type environments, and protection of rain on the outdoors in terms of door entry as well. Inside as well, within probably many of the offices as well as many of the multi-dwelling units, we've also recently released a technology called indoor stations. And what this really is a very well enhanced version. We've taken a lot of the technology that's from our business phones and be able to compact that, and we removed basically the handset of these handsets and put together a nice template so that you can actually mount these things on a wall and be able to see who's in front with 5 speed dial keys. This is a very handy tool to that as an alternative to having a business phone mounted in your living room or family room, etc. And then last but not least, we have some broadcasting technologies that actually enable every analog interface, or perhaps a proprietary digital interface, to be converted into SIP. And that's a great adaptation tool that takes you probably out of the telecom market and allows you to provide solutions into the edge periphery type of peripherals that you may not have thought about, but it's something that we kind of offer that gives you that. Now, tying all of these things in is as well as our management tool. We historically have called this a redirection, as well as a management tool that allows you to download this tool into your server. We provide this service to a lot of our partners free of charge, because we find this as a valuable service to increasing your productivity. And the great news is that we're going to be releasing a cloud version, which is we call FDMCS, in about a month and a half from now, until we release it out in the public. Because currently, all of the management tools you have to download to your own server and deploy it. The next version we're going to have, you're going to be able to set up a cloud account so that you can manage all of your deployment and set up configurations of all of these devices through the cloud. So we provide any type of management things for you so that you can improve your productivity out in the field. Now let's go into the new release that we're doing today. Supplementing the business phones, we have a focus product which we really look at what the hospitality environment is. And in terms of format, we really have three types of formats. We have really a narrowband, which is what we call the narrow phone. A lot of it you could kind of fit into supplementing places where we have in the restroom of many of the hotels, as well as the classic hotels, which is the H3 as well as the H5. And what we've done on the W is correct. We've actually added Wi-Fi capabilities into the phone itself. There's no need for you to deal with a Wi-Fi dongle or anything like that. You could actually pick up this phone and actually put it in, and you could really connect into the Wi-Fi environment of your hotel. Now, having said that, obviously the major advantage of that is being able to provide a lower cost solution. So subject for this presentation, I'm just going to provide a quick product overview, highlight some of the features, applications, and really provide a comparison of how these new phones compare with our current phones that we offer today. So let's look at the quick product overview. Now, some of the new things, besides being able to offer a Wi-Fi capability that is built into the phone, even though these phones do have a USB interface, the idea is that that USB interface is not meant for a dongle, because we realize that, you know, anything that's loose, you know, guests will probably pick it up, toy with it, and this is the actual Wi-Fi capability is integrated into the phone as well. And another enhancement that we've added to both the H3 and H5 capabilities is the ability of putting in Opus Codec as well. And for those who may not be too familiar with the Opus Codec, that really provides a type of voice processing that enables the phone to handle both wideband bandwidth as well as narrowband bandwidth. Now, people can use this phone, and it's very tough to predict what type of bandwidth one might have in the hotel, so that if you have a narrow band, at least we have a dynamic codec that can keep your voice integrity, you know, by itself as much as it can, so that it improves voice integrity. But if you have the bandwidth, it'll also improve the fidelity of the phones as well. And obviously, these are two-line phones, which enable it not only to handle a single call, but to be able to put that single call on hold and transfer the line and answer two calls at once. It really is sort of a very, very well-established two-line SIP phone. Now let's get into some of the differences. On the Fanvil H3W, which actually this looks very much like our current H3, but we've integrated the Wi-Fi capability onto these phones. And the reason why we call this classic is because, you know, I myself have stayed in many hotels throughout my lifetime, and that looking at this, you have the classic vinyl template that's put over the phone itself. Now, these vinyl templates are basically the one sort of variable piece on this phone that when you decide to deploy this, you have to basically usually put in the hospitality name, address, as well as outlining all of the different speed dials that hospitality should choose, such as, you know, services, front desk, concierge, etc., into the phone itself, while providing that in a whole Wi-Fi, you know, experience. Now, even though this does list a USB port here, we're also very conscious about security as well. So we don't want you to think that anybody can load a USB stick in here and download it. I mean, quite frankly, this USB is port there, and the best utilization of this port is primarily basically to charge your mobile phone. But outside of that, it also supports PoE as well moving forward. Now, the great news about the H3 as well as the H5 units is that you may see a stand here, but these stands are also adjustable, so that depending on what type of lighting you have in your room, you could adjust this for different angles that you have on the phone. And it's also wall mountable as well. So we have adapters that you could put these things on the back of the phone to not only make it desk mountable, but also wall mountable on a wall. Now, in addition to on the H5, what makes the H5W very different is that it actually has a soft display. What are the advantages of having a soft display? Well, contrary to the H3, the soft display enables the integrator or the service provider to be able to put in the hotel address, its logo, as well as defining all of the soft keys through a configuration file. And what that means is that you can buy either phone, whether it's a black phone or a white phone with integrated 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and be able to display whatever uniqueness and unique capabilities of that hotel within a flash. Now, once you're able to deploy one site, most of the work is then done for many of the following sites. So it's a really great capability, and you can use our management system to be able to upload these things onto the phone and stick with one model. Now, a nice enhancement besides having 2.4 Wi-Fi is that we've also added the H.264 video codec as well, because in some sites that we've come across, you actually may have a quick door-facing camera that might face who is at the front door and be able to see who's outside that door. And you can do that stealthily because Fanvil has a way of being able to support video preview, so that you can push of a button, actually see who's outside of the door before you allow them to enter, if that type of service is offered under your hospitality group. And again, we also support G722 as well, which is a nice feature. Some of the highlighted features as well, obviously, because it only supports Wi-Fi, you have far less capability in terms of having your desk wireless as much as possible. So instead of having a Cat5 cable coming in and providing capabilities, you have far more flexibility in being able to put this phone wherever there's a power outlet within the room or whatever office you decide to put this into. Okay, and that's a great feature. And as well, we offer this in 2 separate colors that provide you that capability of being able to match whatever sort of design that you might have in your hotel or your specific office that you decide to put that in. I talked a little bit about the video linkage. This is sort of an idea where you can actually couple a VGA output. You know, H.264 really is sort of synonymous with VGA, so that if you have a video input, you can actually monitor that video input on the phone. And we realize that, you know, in hospitality, people are very sensitive to not having any sort of cameras on the phone itself, so that we leave the phone totally camera free, but enables at least the guest to come in and see what type of video services are available within that thing under a VGA quality, which is really great if that's something you want to do. And even if you want to push forward, these DSS keys that we offer here offer a lot more than speed dials. You can actually use these to perhaps even click off a lock if that's a service that's offered by your specific office or the key. Now, we talked about the customizable information display. This is a little bit of a deeper enhancement where you can actually look at here. We used our name here, for example, and you can actually put up the hotel logo or the type of technology you have here and show the address and phone number, which you would find in most hotel rooms. And now instead of putting it as a hard vinyl coding on the phone, you can actually configure it through our management file here so that you can upload that specific file for that specific hotel so that you don't have to go through that manual process. So, and you can deploy one single model for all of these different hotels. Now, in the another unique capability is the programmable soft keys for this hotline. Obviously, all of these keys, the guests aren't going to know what to dial for their voicemail or the service charges and everything like that. This provides that capability to be able to provide that fast line of service so that they can just sort of walk into the room and plug and play by looking at the speed dial tags and be able to call whatever services that are available in the hospitality unit. And obviously, capture every HD voice. When you have G722 coupled with Opus, if your, PBX happens to support Opus, then what you do, as I mentioned earlier, it gives you that wide bandwidth capability to accommodate both narrow band as well as wide bandwidth capabilities within each hospitality unit, so that it really reserves a lot of audio performance throughout your hotel. Then obviously there's also the stylish appearance, which not only in a particularly a home environment, you could also do this in the stylish appearance in the hotel as well with a power cable, versus having it, many cables attached to the phone itself, thus reducing a lot of things that can go wrong. Now, a unique differentiator about our hospitality phones is that we have a thing called a SIP hotspot. Now, many people might be used to this by using your mobile phones, because very often when you have a mobile phone that connects to the Wi-Fi network, you can actually connect to the Wi-Fi and be able to use your phone as sort of a Wi-Fi hotspot, but that's not a Wi-Fi hotspot. What this phone can do is you can actually extend its extension into other phones, so that if you were to put in an H5 as the main phone within the room, it could then reach into that narrow band and other phones that are in that room just by using that main phone as the main advantage. It's not to be confused as a Wi-Fi hotspot adapter, but what it can do is that it could, when that phone rings, it'll automatically ring the other quote unquote slave type of phones that are in the room, and the first phone to pick up will actually, manage that particular extension. It's another alternative way of being able to assign a bunch of different extensions on many different phones in the rooms. You could assign one phone and have that phone serve as sort of the master SIP extension and have other phones ring as well. That's another nice feature that we put in. Application scenarios. This one is pretty obvious. I've been talking about the hotel room applications, but moving forward beyond the hotel, you will also find that outside of the speed dials being non-LED coded, these are really what I call a well-integrated SIP phone that has integrated Wi-Fi capabilities. And when you look at it that way, not every application has the ability to look at, a busy lamp field where you can see whether it's a green light or a red light. Many things like in the supermarket, then people may want to go ahead and dial and say, oh, I have a question mark regarding this bill that this person gave me. They just want to call somebody really quick and get service over. And in that case, any simple, 2 SIP line phone with several speed dials and Wi-Fi capability all integrated into one package might be able to serve a place like a supermarket or perhaps a nurse's station. Now, going beyond just the speed dials, this also has the ability to support 2 SIP lines, giving it the ability to place things on hold, as well as having a transfer key as well. So you can pick up a call and be able to transfer the line onto any particular department that you want to do. So it really does have functionality beyond just standard dial tone features that's given on a specific phone. Now, given the shopping mall, this is just another example. Now, I do know that given the recent situation that affected all of us globally, many of us may be working from home. And we also know that working from home, not everybody might need, a BLF type of capability. And these hotel phones could actually serve as as an economic alternative to some of the business phones that have integrated Wi-Fi, which nearly everybody has in their home environment, to be able to serve as that SIP endpoint to answer any calls that may come in and do whatever transfers that you might find necessary within your office environment as well. So let's do some basic comparisons between our new H3W as well as relative to our current H3. And we find here that obviously we've added some built-in Wi-Fi capabilities and being able to add Opus capabilities. And we did that, we did a competitive differentiation outline here. So you may want to contact our local distributors or your local Fanvil distributors to find out availability and seeing where you want to go ahead and provide any type of quotations for that. As well with the H5W available in both black and white, in addition to adding the integrated Wi-Fi capability into the phone, we've also provided an additional video codec to the phone. And that's not something that we did before as well. We didn't have any type of video capabilities on the old PoE version, but this one we added video capabilities on the Wi-Fi version. So if that's something that you need, we can go ahead and provide that. And I think from here on, that pretty much concludes a lot of my brief overview of these things. And what I'm going to do next is stick around and be able to address any particular questions of these things. One gentleman actually provided a question saying, is the DC in the box? No, in fact, the DC adapters that power these phones are the same adapters that are used on our business phones as well. We find that very often when we go out to many different sites, we find that many of our partners have binfuls of empty power adapters, and a lot of it may end up going to waste. And in order to prevent that waste from going in, I think us and many other people actually have adapters that are not included as well. But if you need it, you can contact our partners as well to find out which power adapter is appropriate for these phones moving forward. Okay, so any other questions? I'll stick around for the next 30 seconds or so, or 30 minutes or so. I'll wait for any additional questions if I don't see anything shortly. If you don't have any questions, I want to thank everybody for your valuable time today, and I'll stick around as long as necessary to address any particular questions that are out there. Another resource for information as well, you can go over to our website, which is www.fanvil.com, to find out more information about this. And if you have specific technical questions, you could actually go to our website and go to support and our download site, and that's where you could find a lot of our user manuals, a lot of our quick data sheets, and this and that for your reference. So far, as I stated, I don't see any additional questions. So what I'll do then now is conclude. If you have any further questions that come up after this webinar, feel free to send an email over to sales@fanvil.com, and somebody will be able to get back to any questions that you may have. Again, my name is Tommy Lee of Fanvil. I want to thank you for your time and hope you have a very healthy weekend and life moving forward. Thank you very much. Take care.